section 11, and I added it as paragraph C3.
So we have a motion on the floor to accept an amendment for section 11. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded that we amend the agreement in the language that Mr. Skogstad just read. Is there any further discussion? All right, I'll call for the question. Would you poll council, please? How's that peanut butter working out for you?
Oh, it's great. Still picking out of my teeth. Okay, I got to get this right, that this is the amendment. Hold on. Okay. Ms. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Azinger?
Yes.
Mr. Rapp?
Yes.
I say yes. Mr. Bibby?
Yes.
Mr. Mancuso?
Yes.
Mr. Leach is still here.
Oh, hi, Jim. Sorry. Mr. Leach? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, fine.
Thank you.
The amendment passes unanimously. Mr. Leach, are you finished with your comments at this time?
Yes.
All right, Ms. Williams, are you finished at this time?
Yes.
All right, back to you, Mr. Mancuso. Well, first off, you've already had. Roger, is there any comments you'd like to make?
No comments,
All
Mayor.
right, thank you. Mr. Azinger, any comments for you, sir?
No, sir.
All right. Mr. Chris, if you're done or if you were going to continue.
Yeah, I would like to propose a couple of amendments to this agreement. I move that under section 1A3,
1A3. Okay.
that be removed entirely from the agreement.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we amend section 1A3.
And
Excuse me.
And just so I'm clear, and just so the record's clear, 1A3 being additional projects to the extent reasonable within the scope of this agreement and the fixed compensation schedule, and that entire paragraph after that ending in the word effect. Is that what you're asking? You said
The services will also
Services.
include any other consulting tasks.
Okay, so paragraph 1A1. Services will include identifying and developing special projects.
No, item 3, right above term of agreement.
Hold on. Right above okay, the services will also include any other consulting task the parties may agree on. The consultant hereby agrees to provide such services to the client. I see what you're saying.
You want that removed?
Section
Correct.
1A, paragraph 3.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, it's been moved and seconded that we amend the agreement to remove section 1A, paragraph 3. The services will also include any other consulting tasks the parties may agree on. The consultant hereby agrees to provide such services to the client. That paragraph 3 will be stricken. Correct?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Is there any further discussion?
I just have a comment about that. I agree with this because this is really broad and it doesn't define who the parties are. I'm assuming that what we're saying is at this stage in the contract that the parties are not the city of Vienna, but specifically the mayor. There's no advice and consent from the council. That's what this is saying, right?
Yeah, that falls in with the general terms of the contract or the agreement, is that it sets out in paragraphs 1A, subparagraph 2, and then 1, 2, and 3 below that, what the projects are, and then that paragraph 3 that you're amending, it refers to the mayor and the contractee, that there may be additional things that come up, and that the mayor would be the person that would do that. You're approving a contract that basically says, we're going to pay this company $25,000. We have these 3 definite things in mind, period. And then, if things come up from time to time, the mayor has the flexibility to say, hey, I want you to go down there and do that other project. That's what 3 says. It adds to that. Subparagraph 3 is the additional projects. 3 says any other consulting task. So
Yeah, so we are agreeing that that's broad in its definition.
Well, I mean,
Because,
I know more
you
so than,
let me ask it this way.
no more so than the paragraph 3 above it that says additional projects to the extent reasonable within the scope of the agreement, the fixed compensation schedule, except special project assignments from the mayor's office.
Right. No.
Yeah, Ms. Williams, I agree. I think that I'm asking that to be stricken, and I have an amendment for item 1A, subparagraph 2, item 3.
Yeah, let's just do one at a time. huh?
So we're on the same page.
All right.
So can you clarify one more time, as I'm looking at this also. It's 1A,
Paragraph 3.
paragraph,
Big one, services provided, A, the client,
right,
3
the
little I's at the bottom.
three little
Yeah.
I's, yes, that's the
Yep.
3. Okay, so we're taking out those 2 sentences.
Yes, that's the amendment.
That's the amendment right now.
Right now.
Okay. Is there any discussion? Then I'll call for the question on the removal of the paragraph 30 in 1A. Would you poll council, please?
Yeah. Ms. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Azinger? Yeah. Okay. Mr. Leach?
I vote no.
Mr. Rapp?
No.
I say yes. Mr. Bibby?
Roger?
Oh, I'm sorry. No.
Mr. Mancuso?
Yes.
All right. And it passes 4-3, so with that will be stricken from the agreement. All right. What's next?
Under services provided, A to item number 3, where it says accept special project assignments from the mayor's office, I would like to add to that sentence that says with approval of council.
So just add 2 additional projects after currently in effect, just add comma with approval of council.
Yeah, where it says accept special project assignments from the mayor's office.
Okay. You're at 1, services provided, paragraph A, subparagraph 2, subparagraph 3. Starts with additional projects. It's page 2. So we're starting with after the mayor's office, comma, with approval of council, comma, which should include. Is that what you want?
Yes.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we amend item number 3 to add a sentence in there that says with council's approval. Is there any discussion?
I mean,
Go ahead, Jim.
So, the purpose of paragraph 1, 2, and 3, in my mind, and in conversations about this project with Jack, is ranked in priority. Spencer's Landing 1, downtown Vienna 2, additional projects being the 3rd priority. Having a conversation with Jack, hey, we want to, for example, I think it'd be nice to have a relocation page on our website where people can fill out a form to get more information about relocating to the city of Vienna. That might be a good idea to do. What do you think, Mayor? Sure, Jack, go ahead. Oh, wait, we got to go to council and get approval. That kind of micromanagement is not contemplated within this agreement. It is contemplated that this information will be kept forward, but this is just going to hamstring the effort. And so I absolutely do not agree with that amendment.
so I agree with the amendment because
Of
this
course.
this is very broad, okay? And so if there are other projects that the mayor wants to have done, then he should come to council and let us know what those projects are, because guess what? Projects have to be funded. You're going to have to come and ask us for the money anyway. But that allows there to be oversight for the public to know what projects the city is working on, for council to help guide, those projects so we are in part of the decision-making process. What this contract does, this takes council pretty much out of the decision-making process altogether, unless we amend it to, to fix this. I think this is very reasonable, and I think his example of micromanagement with the website, that's ridiculous. That's not what we're talking about. I mean, the mayor brought up bridges and the sewer, I hate to tell everybody, but the sewer, that's under the management of the Vienna Utility Board. So I don't know why that was brought up. But anyway, I think that if it's a project, he just needs to come and tell us, hey, we'd like Mr. Mathers to work on this, then that should be fine. And we can discuss it and approve it.
Yeah, I agree.
So time out. Oh, I'm sorry.
I was going to say, could that reason be resolved by saying if funds are necessary? I mean, if it's something like, hey, can you do this? There's certain things in the executive branch that are allowed for the mayor to assign things or ask for things, to manage the business of the city. But if it is going to require funds to be moved or an internal budget revision or something like that, then maybe that comes to council instead. If it's something that doesn't have a dollar amount attached to it, then I don't see why we would need to have that done.
I get what you're saying, but the mayor already has broad latitude in the administration of the city. I mean, he's the chief executive officer, and he's running the city as he should. That's his job, and I have no problem with that whatsoever. But when we start talking about wanting to develop different things, or I think that I would like to have that conversation before we get to the point where it gets too far down the line. Because another thing about this contract, and I have another question about it later, about there's a decision in here to make Vienna a relocation destination. So who thought of that? What does that mean? What does that look like? So I'm sure Mr. Leach has had a conversation with the mayor about it, but I mean, the rest of us don't have a clue. I don't have a clue. And so that's what I'm saying. If we're going to expand, if there are going to be more jobs given to this forest consultant LLC, then bring it to council.
Okay, so I would like to see this amendment not pass. You can't micromanage every project that comes into the city because opportunities present themselves, and sometimes, a lot of times, they don't prove to be anything. But in order to be involved, you have to, explore every opportunity that comes down the road. And for me to have to come back to council for everything that comes across the table, half of them never go anywhere. But, this micromanaging simply because you don't get to be involved in everything that goes on, that the jealousy factor is just overwhelming. And so, yeah, I'd like a little latitude because I know what it takes to get at least some of these things started. If you don't at least look at them, and the relocation project that you're asking about is a thing that Brad Smith, the president of Marshall University, is promoting, that the biggest problem that is facing the entire state of West Virginia is lack of population. We are losing people to the bigger cities, to other opportunities. That's the reason why that we need to do whatever we can do to get families to move into our town. That is what will keep us alive. And so that relocation project has nothing to do with this amendment. It's just another point of conversation to say, what can we do as a city to encourage families to move to Vienna?
So
Okay?
Mathers Forest Consulting LLC is the best.
He's a part of the puzzle. He is not
So
the
is a
single
council,
answer.
but we're
He is a
we're not making
team
him a
member
part of the
of
puzzle.
the people that try to make good things.
So the
We're not
reason I
talking
made,
about, but this isn't a hiring conversation still. He's hired, right? I
He
mean,
is hired.
well, that's a good question,
That's what it
actually.
is. So,
Excuse me, one at a time, please.
so I'm not sure why we're arguing about what,
It's the scope of the contract. That's to clarify. That's why it's been brought up.
You actually bring up a good point, Ms. Elam. With the way that the previous resolution was accepted, is it a viable contract? And is he actually hired with the city with the way that contract or resolution was written?
All right. I thought I answered this previously, but the resolution that council approved was to approve prior to hire Mr. Mathers as a part-time employee. The resolution on its face said that. It listed out the duties in the resolution that he would be obligated to perform, and that's where we're at. He's presently a part-time employee. He has to submit his hours and so on and so forth. As I said from the outset, the intent of this agreement and the resolution tonight is to supersede that, meaning he will no longer be considered a city employee. He will be an independent contractor.
Okay.
Well, I'm not going to address issues that weren't asked.
Yeah. So
Excuse
the
me.
reason,
Are we still talking about the amendment?
yes.
All right, go.
So the reason I put forth this amendment is not to micromanage and is not because I'm jealous of anything. I simply want the council, who members of this community elected to represent them, be involved with these projects. And I asked earlier what other specific projects were to be considered. Because I think this agreement, if we have specific projects like updating the city's website, creating a new logo, any of those things, why aren't we listing them in this agreement specifically? And then I would be happy with those things, to include those things in this development process. But we're not specifically listing them, which means that we leave the door wide open to any and everything under the sun as a special project from the mayor's office. And I just completely disagree with that. And I think council should have some input in the direction of how this consultant is being used for economic, residential, and cultural development in the city.
Melissa hit on it right on the head, Chris. It all comes back to funding. Council approves the expenditures of the city, all right? It doesn't make any difference what I work on or what Jack works on. If we find a project that is a good, viable project, it has to come back to council for funding. You just can't handicap. You couldn't name everything that comes up to put them all on this mysterious list that you'd like to have. It doesn't work that way, but the funding does. None of these projects will get off square one without money. That's the whole deal. Any further discussion on the amendment? All right. So the amendment is to add a sentence
With council approval,
with council approval
after the phrase.
in
the mayor.
section 3,
1A,
3.
2,
1A,
3.
2, 3.
1A23. All right. Would you please poll council?
Ms. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Azinger?
Yes.
Mr. Leach?
No.
Mr. Rapp?
No.
I say no. Mr. Bibby?
No.
Mr. Mancuso?
Yes.
All right, that one fails 4-3. So, Chris, what's next?
I would move to strike the currency item from this agreement, as I don't see it's relevant to the performance of this consultant.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we strike item number 4, which is currency. The language says, except as otherwise provided in this agreement, all monetary amounts are in U.S. dollars. Is there any further discussion?
I think this is kind of in light of everything else that we're doing, I think this is honestly kind of a silly amendment. I don't agree with that one. It's saying that it's cash, as we're dealing with real money. I don't think that's a bad thing to have. I don't think we're trying to pare this down, like, oh, we have to get it down to 5 pages instead of 7. So I think we just need to say, yes, we're not going to pay him with anything other than real money.
Is there any further discussion? And I'll call for the
Mayor,
question.
I'm not actually sure of the intent of the amendment. Could
The
you briefly?
amendment is to remove item 4, which was currency, and the thing says, the agreement says, except as otherwise provided in this agreement, all monetary amounts are in U.S. dollars, which means if we get paid or we have to do something, it's American dollars. It's not Bitcoin. It's not, any of those things.
Deutschmarks,
Yeah, okay, it's American dollars.
euros.
All right? Is that clear enough, Roger?
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
All right, then.
I have a question before we move on. I don't know of any government that pays in Bitcoin. I mean, it's kind of like, this is in here, it doesn't really need to be in there at all. We don't pay in Bitcoin, and we're gonna pay in US dollars. We don't have many in our other contracts.
Okay, I'll call for the question, then would you please poll council?
Ms. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Azinger? No. Mr. Leach?
No.
Mr. Rapp?
No.
I say no. Mr. Bibby?
No.
Mr. Mancuso?
Yes.
All right, Chris, what's next? Excuse me, that one failed 5-2. Okay,
Under item number 6, reimbursement of expenses, I would like to add a subparagraph B. Reimbursement of expenses shall not exceed $5,000
In total?
in total without council approval.
Second.
it's been moved and seconded that item number 6 B be added to the agreement to say that nothing more than $5,000 can be reimbursed. How do you want to say that? Please.
The reimbursable expenses shall not exceed $5,000 without council approval.
All right, you got that, Russ?
Yep.
All right. It's been moved and seconded that we add a section B, that the reimbursement of expenses shall not exceed $5,000 without council approval. Is there any further discussion?
Yeah, just to clarify, I think that's a very common thing in most contracts, reimbursement expenses not to exceed. As council, we're responsible for how taxpayer money is spent, and I think $5,000 is reasonable within a year. Anything beyond that, I think council should have the authority to review and approve.
So Mr. Mancuso brings up a point that's not clarified. Is it $5,000 per event or $5,000 per year?
$5,000, period.
All right, so reimbursable expenses shall not exceed $5,000 total without council approval.
Right.
Okay.
All right. It is, whatever. Okay. All right. I'll call for the question. Would you poll council, please?
Ms. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Azinger?
No.
Mr. Leach?
No.
Mr. Rapp?
No.
I say no. Mr. Bibby?
No.
Mr. Mancuso?
Yes.
All right. That amendment fails 5-2, excuse me. What's next, Chris?
I think that's it.
Okay, great. All right. We've made amendments to this agreement.
Send them to you.
All right. So it's been moved and seconded that we approve the special project consulting agreement as amended. Is there any further discussion?
I just have one last comment, if I may. If we want a project coordinator, let's make a position in the city, advertise the job appropriately with a description, and do this properly. Otherwise, let's be honest about what this consultant agreement really is. This is a misuse of power and authority by the sponsors who put it forth in order to put their friends' best interests and their own interests above the interests and the needs of the city. It will actually, in fact, strip this council and other various commissions, as it lists the Planning Commission, and other entities like the Wood County Economic Development Authority, from their authority and power that they currently have. I cannot vote for this.
All right, I'm going to comment too. Chris, I'm sorry. I feel like we're not listening to the same meetings sometimes. This is a complementary position that complements what the Development Authority is doing. We've got macro and micro needs, and this covers both of them. We've already covered that nothing is being done funding-wise without council. There are things that happen, phone calls that come in, opportunities that come in, letters that come in, emails that come in, all kinds of opportunities that come across the desk of the chief executive of our city. And I think it's unprofessional to attack people and say that things are being done to promote their friends and that kind of stuff. That is not what this is about. There's been opposition from the beginning, And I'm sorry that it comes to that. I am disappointed in your take on this position.
I think you just made his point for him because let's put it out. Let's advertise it. If the city needs this, because there's all this stuff coming through, it's a fire hose of things that need to happen, and the mayor needs some assistance. Hey, what's the job description? Put it out there. Let's advertise it and hire somebody.
Any other comments? Any other comments?
Just one, I have to make a comment with respect to Chris's statements too,
Mr.
and some
Leach?
of Kim's. I think that there's a combination of being naive and disingenuous that's gone on quite a bit with this council and this 5-2 council, and I'll be glad to see an end of it someday.
I wasn't going to comment on that, but Jim makes a point. We realized that we had an opportunity to hire a person that believes in the city of Vienna, works tirelessly for nothing. And yet we keep coming to these meetings and having someone or more than one stand up and say, now don't take this personal. You can't help but take it personal, because he works hard and doesn't get paid. And now we've offered to put him into a position where he can use the talents that he's built over these years for the betterment of the city. Jack's a better man than I am, because I'm going to tell you, if you told me that, I'd probably walk. He's retired. He's got a life to live. He doesn't need for someone to keep saying, don't take this personal when you tell him how bad he is. And so I'll call for the question. Would you poll council, please?
Ms. Williams?
No.
Mr. Azinger?
Yeah.
Mr. Leach?
Yes.
Mr. Rapp?
Yes.
I say yes. Mr. Bibby?
Yes.
Mr. Mancuso?
No.
All right, so we adopt the special project consulting agreement 5-2. All right, so we move on to a discussion, needs of various age groups in the city. Example, the senior center and child care for families. Mr. Leach, I believe this was yours.
I think this, in fairness, Kim brought up the issue of the senior center, and as I took it, whether we're going to have a discussion about revisiting the issue of expanding that to a full-time employee. I don't view that has been decided, and we've got to stop revisiting issues the majority has made the decision on. And also, it's been a long night. I would ask that we table this and actually try to reset our attitudes. It's been a tough night, and do talk about have a good, open, frank discussion about what are the needs, because it's beyond the seniors. I talked to, and in fact, when I talked to Lindsay, she mentioned AmeriCorps, and I talked to Becky Edwards, at the Mid-Ohio Valley Regional Council, and she heads up those programs, and they don't squarely fit, maybe, how these volunteer activities could benefit our senior center, except in one extent. Or one aspect. The others are more directed to home care type things, volunteers. But, and then with the child care, some things that you alluded to earlier that we can't really discuss yet could bear on the issue of what we can do to help our younger families with children and some of the issues they face. But like I said, this meeting's been going 3 hours tonight. I would move to table this discussion to another meeting. There's nothing urgent about it.
And there's a motion on the floor to table this discussion until a future meeting. Is there a second to table it?
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded that we table this discussion to a future meeting. There is no discussion on a motion to table, so would you poll council, please?
Ms. Williams?
No, there are 9 people in here for this.
Yeah.
9 seniors. They've waited all night. No.
Okay, Mr. Azinger?
Yeah.
Mr. Leach?
Yes.
Mr. Rapp?
I'm also going to say no with Kim, because These folks have sat here now for 3 hours, and I'll stay. I'll listen to whatever you have to say, but I do want this brought back up because I know that there are things that we need to take a look at, and we need to have a better discussion. So, but it has been 3 hours, but I appreciate the fact that you all came. So I'm gonna vote no to table it, but go ahead.
I would know. Mr. Bibby,
This is the,
to table the
Table this to the next,
discussion.
yes.
yeah, yes.
Mr. Mancuso?
No.
All right, it passed, or it did not pass, so we're going to discuss it.
We're going to continue.
Yes.
All right. So you all have come, all sat here for 3 hours to say something to us. All right? I doubt you have a spokesman that speaks for each of you. So if you would be as quickly and concisely as you can, tell us what you want, what your concerns are. Yeah, we don't
Yeah,
have to, we just, who would like to speak?
Tell us what you want.
Wait, hold on. Maybe we should have them come to the microphone so the guys on, yeah, if they could come up to the microphone and speak.
Hey, where's the cordless mic at, Teresa?
Actually makes me nervous up here. Yeah, I'm okay. Okay, I would actually like to see Liz full-time, just for the reasons that I mentioned earlier. So we could have, I'm going to say speakers come in like on Fridays and everything, because during the week, it just seems like it's all exercises. And we can't do both at the same time because of the parking. And I would just like to see our senior citizen grow a little bit on the other side. It's growing in the gym. It's wonderful. It's full. I go many days as I can. But the other side is stagnant to me. And that's just my opinion. I think Liz could do a lot of good. I think she's young. She's got a lot of ideas. And, I mean, we would all help her as much as we can and give her input. But that's about as good as I can do with my paper. But I just think she would do really good. I'm seriously full-time.
Yeah, but what are you going to do with Linda for the rest of the senior center is only open 26 hours. Okay, to make that a full-time position, what are you going to do with the other 14 hours?
Well, she's not there on Fridays, correct?
That's not my choice. I mean, that's the way, that's the design that the senior center, the hours they picked. Okay?
Well, see, I didn't know that.
Yes.
I just thought we were closed because no one was there or.
And
they
that may
didn't want-
very well be, okay? But that's not that's not by our design. That's
Okay.
the hours that they pick, not us,
Okay.
all right? Carl, if you would, take your microphone and let's see what other comments.
Anybody else have a comment?
I would like to see Liz hired full-time. I think there's a real need for extra help at the senior citizen. I should be off.
Hold it up to your mouth.
It's on.
Is it on? Okay, there we go. I would like to see Liz hired full-time at the Senior Citizen Center.
Okay.
There's a great need to expand programs, to expand having activities, more time for what you were talking about different types of activities, speakers, information sessions. Pickleball players and exercise people want more time, and they're not open enough hours to get everyone in to play when they want to.
Okay.
And I think it's, I don't want to get into the senior versus child thing, but senior centers are very important for older people. Seniors face a lot of psychological, emotional, and physical issues. Inactivity is one. This gives them a social outlet to be able to be with other people, to socialize, to not be as lonely, to not be as isolated, to lessen depression, to improve their health. There are so many positives to doing that, and I really think it's so important.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I think it would be great to be able to have the senior center open for more hours. And in my visits there, that's what I've heard from people, that they would like expanded hours. Later in the weekdays, earlier on the Friday when they don't have the early hours, and that those additional hours would allow them to have more activities. But to have those additional hours, you're going to have to increase some employee hours. As far as I can tell, that's the only expense. What the seniors I've heard from have said is that they want classes, they want talks, they want classes in computer skills and smartphone technology, and good gosh, I know I could use that half the time. I'm a senior too, and I struggle with those things. They want more activities that do not equate to additional expenses to the city. They simply want more hours so that these activities can be spread out and they're not constantly competing for parking with the exercise programs, which are fantastic. And existing programs are a good start on the other side, but I know that they want more things to happen there.
Okay, thank you.
As far as what she was talking about with added expenses and what you said, Mayor, was about since the COVID, it cut out a lot of programs. We have got seniors in that senior center that know computers, that want to do it and want to use their own experiences to help other seniors, but we don't have the time frame that we can do it in, because when we're able to come in, that's when Liz especially has to cut her hours at 3 and leave. Whenever that, if we could expand it even an hour, that 3 to 4 gives that window where we can have seniors come in and seniors help seniors. That would be a big help, and it wouldn't be any expenses other than that added hour, maybe 2 or 3 times.
Sounds like a great program.
And I've heard other seniors say it, and I know we've got seniors here that are willing to do that. And I was talking to one, and she said, I know computer, I would love to do that. And I said, I'm lacking in that, and just that little bit, it just can, the things it does, where we feel useless in other areas, and it gives us an area that we can feel like we can do something again. And reach out and help others then.
Sounds like a great program.
So that's what we're asking for.
They basically.
Thank you, Cleveland.
It may be because you're between those two speakers.
What these folks have said, basically, I agree with. I can't think of anything that I would go against. The one thing is very important is getting speakers in, or getting people in to help us with our computer. And these cell phones are getting fancier every day. And it would be nice to have somebody help with those.
I'm sure Verizon would love to come and give you a class. AT&T would probably line up too. But that's good. They do that.
Yeah, I think Fridays should be open during the day. Fridays like you used to.
Is there a reason why that with the hours
That it's not open. I know you said that they picked those hours. If they added on those, I don't know what the exact hours that Liz has, but if they added them on.
We're always open to try things if it would work.
Yes.
But I'll talk to Linda. Okay, we'll have to see. She's very uncomfortable about having you all in there as a group. Things have lightened up, but I'll talk to Linda. We'll see about that. Okay.
What without supervision, you mean? Without somebody without supervision?
Oh, no. It's not going to be. We're not going to open the senior center with no supervision. No, that was her question.
What did you said?
Her question was, you said that Linda was uncomfortable having the senior.
That's what I didn't understand.
No,
Because of the health issues. She's still very conscious of you all getting, if someone's got the cold or whatever, being in groups.
Actually, I think we're more cautious of that than anybody, because if we feel like we've got a cough, no, they don't come. It's amazing.
Well, I can tell you, my best memories are going to the lunches that were up there, because you all have a favorite dessert that you will bring. And I mean, they're great, and it's great socialization. All right. We'll talk.
Could we
Okay.
add that again?
I'm sorry.
Could we add that again?
Yes. And I say that, would I support that? Yes, I would. However, you all know Linda, and you all know Linda likes to run a tight ship. Okay. So we will have that conversation with Linda and say, hey, you've got a group of people that say they'd like it expanded. What are you going to do? All right. So we'll have that conversation.
There are groups that will come in and do dinners for seniors. They do it for
They do it for Belfry, they do it for Marietta.
free. I mean, it's like hospice
Do
or,
they make blackberry cobbler? I mean, that's kind of a requisite.
I don't think they want us making it anymore, but we can get people to do it, to have the dinner. They have cooks.
All right. We'll have that conversation. Okay. All right.
So I was actually the one that had asked this to be on the agenda. So first of all, I want to thank everybody for coming tonight and staying. It's been a really marathon meeting.
for having us.
And I know we lost a couple people in there, and I thank council for not tabling this evening. It was a really rainy evening, cold, and I know you guys made a great sacrifice to come out this evening, and I appreciate it. But this got brought up by me because at the budget, we had budget hearings in the budget process last month, and in the budget was a request from the senior center to have, to make the senior center assistant full-time and for there to be expanded hours and more programming. That's how it all came about. And then council rejected that, okay? And so then there was a survey at the senior center and really interesting results from that survey. And I mean, council really needs to review the survey to find out all the things that folks want to do. And they can do that if we expand the hours. We have this nice, very nice facility. Everybody loves it. It's beautiful. It's functional. But it's only open 27 hours a week. So we could just expand those hours a little bit more, okay? And y'all can have more programming. That's all we're asking. And one of the numbers that popped out in my head was that there are at least, normally, and sometimes there are more than 800 sign-ins per month from people that are coming in to use the senior center. Now, sometimes people they forget to sign in or whatever, and so what I'm trying to demonstrate is the senior center is well used, and there are more people that want to use it. And as we know from the comprehensive plan, Vienna has 24.6% seniors, which is higher than the state average. And I don't like the fact that this got put in competition with kids, like I mean childcare. I don't really, and we'll have to wait for Mr. Leach to explain that one. But if you look at the numbers of that, it's less than 11%. It's 10.6 or 7% for kids ages 5 to 15. In Vienna, we have lots of programs for kids. I mean, so I disagree with that. What I'm trying to say is we need to make sure that you guys can do more things, and it could be very simple by just making more hours available.
So has any member of council seen the survey that she's referencing?
No.
I have not either. I will ask for that. Okay, and we'll get that survey.
It's not mine. It's at the
I know
senior
it's not
center.
yours. I get that, but that survey's never came to any of us.
I mentioned it a couple weeks ago, so I thought you would have picked it up already, but that's
Linda's
okay.
been off. Okay, I'll take care of it. All right. All right. Thank you all for coming. We're going to finish up the rest of the agenda so we can all go home. All right. So our next item is our update on the Jackson Pool.
Yeah, so all the concrete is poured, the slide steel supports are installed, so if you haven't driven up 34th Street or up Jackson Park Drive lately, either way, it's going to look completely different to you. So the slide steel supports are installed. The pool liner is going to be installed within the next 2 weeks. We've got a lot of finishing projects that are being worked on. Steve Black and I are working on a lot of that. Those finishing touches and the getting the supplies in and that kind of stuff that we're going to need in order to open. Party reservations, again, a reminder, can start being made on May 1st by calling the city building. And the full schedule, programming, hours of operation, all of that will be posted in early May.
our update on the Jackson Police.
Oh, somebody's getting live. Okay. And I want to thank you. So, especially this past week, there was the exit was closed because of the crane work and that kind of stuff. And so the community has been really good and patient about having to kind of roll with things. Once in a while, the Park Drive has had to be closed because they're bringing something big in. And so thank you to the community for your patience with the entrance and exit of the area. It's all going to be worth it.
I spoke today with the inspector that has to come in and certify the pool. And they understand that we're still under construction. And she was very accommodating, said, I live right here in Clarksburg. As soon as you're ready, you call us. So we will not be delayed with our inspection. And good news for you, all of the toilet stuff came today.
Yes.
So now we get our bathrooms finished. They were looking for projects for rainy days. Well, they're here. So we delivered them today. So,
Good.
all right. All right. Any questions on the pool? All right. So then we move on. Are there any standing or special committee reports or anything from the boards? All right. So now we move to council comments. Anyone on council have anything? Thank you. There will be a special council meeting on Tuesday, April the 16th at 8:30 in the morning. That's to lay the levy. It's mandated by state code that it's held that day. We need a quorum, so we need to make sure that we get at least 4 people here to lay the levy. If you cannot make that meeting, please let me know because we have to work it out by state code. All right? April 16th, 8:30 in the morning. It's a Tuesday. All right?
I just wanted to say, this meeting's been so long, I'm now actually old enough to go to the senior center. And two, I wanted to say something nice about Mike and Carl, but it turns out I want to go home more.